Good people, welcome to Two Wheel Talk. I am LA Deluxe. I just wanted to talk today about sat navs and using a sat nav on tour and obviously on your motorbike, and what are good options and kind of essentials to have when you do go on a little tour, and how to do it without breaking the bank. So when I first went on tour in 2015, I done quite a few places in Europe. Obviously I went around London, I went Folkestone, Dover, that area. I went over on the ferry to France, then from France, Paris obviously, to Belgium, and then to Germany, and then on to Denmark. So all of these places I spent a night or two going around the town, just seeing the local nightlife, daytime, all those sorts of things, museums, whatever. And to do all of that and come back to London, I was by myself. I was away for about 12 days. And I've done that on my Ninja 650, the ER6F, which I don't have anymore. I done all of that with one sat nav, and it was an old Garmin Nuvi 25 or something like that. A really small kind of square. Is that a square? None of those are really a square. A little square sat nav, old, just used, nothing special. But the thing about it is that it came included with full maps of Europe and the UK. So that is what I'm going to recommend you go for in this video. Now, I don't have that sat nav anymore. It's away. I do have it. It's just away somewhere where I can't find it. So I got a new one. I went on eBay and picked up this Garmin Nuvi 2595 LM. There's hundreds of different sat navs you can get out there, but Garmin is a well established and recognized brand, and their products are quality. And this model in particular comes with UK and Europe maps included with free lifetime updates, and that's the sort of thing you need. A lot of these new sat navs are made by kind of cheap companies, and they only have Europe, or they only have UK, or they only have UK and Ireland, or they only have US, or they don't have UK and Europe. It's a bit of a madness trying to get UK and Europe. And I don't know if you can see this on the back here, but all the countries that are in a bright white have detailed coverage. So Spain, France, Germany, Poland, Sweden, Finland, Turkey, Bulgaria, like loads of places, including the UK as well, and most urban areas in the Ukraine, Romania. Can't really see some other places, and a few places only have major roads. BLR, I think that's Belarus maybe. I haven't ventured that far afield yet, but hopefully I will. But only major roads, but that's still a lot. This was $19.99 on eBay. £4 postage and packaging, so less than £25. Obviously it's used, but it looked to be in good condition. You can see the box is still in good condition, bit of a dent there, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. Couldn't really care less about the box. So let's open it up. If you buy a new sat nav, you might get one of these, but if you buy a new Garmin, you won't get one of these. Just like a cheap cigarette charger type thing with a USB. That's one of the benefits of getting a used product. You may get some free little bonuses that you wouldn't normally get. Just your standard USB cable. It's an old USB type 2, that fat ugly one. Not the micro USB, but that doesn't really matter. So here is the sat nav itself. It's like a rectangular shape. Let's see, it's about 13 centimeters long. Don't know if you can see that there, just quick on the ruler. About 13 centimeters long and 7.5 centimeters tall. And it's, let's see how deep it is as well. Sorry, my ruler's just on the floor. And about a centimeter thick. So not really that big. Here is, my phone's elsewhere. So on the back here, it's got like a little cradle socket for where you'd want to attach a suction cup. It doesn't have a suction cup with it. I mean, to be fair, this box is quite small. I don't imagine that it would have come with one in the first place. And it wasn't advertised as having one either. And I don't really mind because I'm not really using it for the car. So let's turn it on. Power button's up here at the top. Not a good start, not powering on. It has a slot for a micro SD card there, and a speaker and a USB port there. But one reason I'm not fretting about it not powering on is because I wanted to show you or talk about another thing that I think is an essential if you're going to be going on tour or adventure riding and stuff. It's a battery pack. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery pack, and I had one of these while I was on tour as well. It wasn't one that was as good as this. I think it was a 5 or a 3,000 little cylindrical one, and that lasted me the entire time I was away, 12 days, and I was covering about 300 miles a day. So on the road for a good few hours, and what I would do is what I started doing was waiting for this sat nav to run down and then plug in the battery pack in. But what I found was better was just plugging the battery pack in from the start, and just keeping the sat nav at 100%. And it seemed to last longer because the battery pack wasn't having to be drained, filling up another empty battery. It was just kind of topping up a full battery, which I think these can do. They are smart a little bit, aren't they? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to plug this in to here and see if we can get some life out of it. Okay, so there it is straight away. It has come on straight away. Perfect. And you can see on my battery pack I've got 21% left on that because I've been charging a phone. So I guess it's just booting up. It says loading maps. So while that's loading up, let's just see what else is in the box. Just your manuals, and then activate your lifetime maps. Now, having lifetime updates is great because obviously countries build new roads, roads get removed, and sometimes you might find yourself on just a dirt track and so on and so forth. So lifetime updates is good. You might find a cheaper compared to a more expensive sat nav on Amazon or eBay or somewhere by some sort of unknown brand, and it probably comes preloaded with some maps, but there's no guarantee that whatever company that sat nav is made by or where it's getting its maps from are going to be in business a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now. The thing about Garmin is they've been around for a long time, and I suspect they will be around for a long time to come because they specialize in sat navs. It's not like a cheap make from China that are just trying to pump out products to make sales. Alright, so this has loaded up now. So it's very basic, where to and view maps. Well, let's see, where to. It's touchscreen, by the way. Where to, let's go to search. It says you can search for pizza, or you can search for a street. Should I search for a pizza place? Should I search for Pizza Hut? Pizza Hut. Search. Oh, I hit search and it turned off. Oh, but my USB cable came out. That's why. I must not have had it in properly. Yeah, there's a little, when you push it in, there's a little click. I think I just had it not fully inserted. So it's going to boot up again. So while I leave it to do that, I will talk about the next essential thing I think you need. And that is one of these. It's this ugly kind of pouch type thing that you strap onto your handlebars. Now there are better looking ones than this, but something I had planned for and realized early on before I even set off on my trip was that it might rain obviously if you're the UK and Europe, the weather's not always the best, so I recommend getting one of these. I mean, I got caught in maybe one massive rain shower on the way home on the last day of the trip. Luckily for me, it was beautiful weather all throughout my trip because I went at the end of August. But on the last day, I got absolutely drenched. All my leathers were soaked through. I was soaked through to the skin through all my leathers. So it was, and I wish I had brought my textile jacket, but that's a different matter. But this is good because it bolts onto the handlebars nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. It's got this rubber thing, and this zipper, if you look at it here, it has this kind of over-stitched plastic casing which forms a watertight seal. I say watertight, it's probably not watertight submerged in a bath or the sea, for instance, but for rain, your sat nav or your phone, if you're using your phone, is not going to get wet. Now, some of you may be saying, hang on, I can use my phone for sat nav. I don't recommend using your phone for sat nav, especially on long touring trips. One, because if anything happens, if this falls off or you have an accident or anything, and your phone is what you're using for your sat nav, it's going to get wrecked, you've lost your phone. Secondly, you want to have your phone for emergency calls, for making contact, for taking photos if you haven't got a camera, and everything else that a phone does. And I always find as well that the phones I've had in the past, whether Android or Apple, the sat nav has never been 100% reliable. Sometimes it's very slow to start up and it can't find satellites, and it relies on having phone signal sometimes, and all these sorts of things that are just too many variables that you can't really afford to be messing around with or have going wrong when you're out in the middle of Germany or somewhere in Europe or wherever, and you don't know where you're going and you don't know what you're doing. In a case like that, you need your phone. So I don't recommend using your phone as a sat nav personally. So definitely one of these. It's very strong, very sturdy, and it's waterproof, and it can hold quite a large phone, and you can tuck other things in there like money and stuff, and it won't get wet, or whatever you want to put in there. Right, all that talking, this sat nav had booted up about 2-3 minutes ago, so we're going to try searching again. It's got a strong signal, it's locked onto where I am, so I'm going to try searching for Pizza Hut again. Pizza Hut, go, it's searching. I am a bit wary of that cable getting pulled out, but here we go. Pizza Hut, 1.4 miles away, go. I'm sure you all know how a sat nav works. Start new route, calculating, 99%, continue on the road, and there we go, we're on our way. Like sometimes when I was in my car, I have to be sitting there waiting for it to find satellites and load the maps and all sorts of things, and it's draining my phone battery and all of that. So there we go, the battery's charging nicely. My charger's down to 20%, 1% so far. Everything looks good. What I'm going to do, I am going to hook all these to my bike. This I normally keep in my jacket or in my bag, like in my motorbike jacket, so it's not too far. If you've got a longer cable, obviously you could run it to your back or you could run it to your bike. You could. What I do intend to do at some point is install a USB charger in my bike somewhere, but I've got an idea where, but I haven't got around to it yet. But for now, this is always great, and this is, obviously you can charge your phone. It's got 2 ports at the top and everything. So I'm going to hook these up to my bike and then go for a ride, test them all out and see how they all work on the road in practice, and then come back and update you on it all. Forgot about these types of cases that I've just remembered, and that I had to do to my last one was make a little hole in the back of it in order to feed the USB cable through, because these are sealed, I guess. So there's nowhere to feed the cable through. So I'm just going to show you what I've done there. Here in the bottom left hand corner, I just lined up the Garmin's USB port roughly. Here, marked it with a screw just as a point, and then used just a craft knife to pierce through and just create a slit, but only a slit. I didn't cut it out into a square or a hole or anything like that, because when I push the cable through, I want the cable to go through here and form, obviously not a seal, but close around the cable, as opposed to the hole being open all the time. Because obviously making a hole in this, it's not as water resistant as it was originally, but because it's on the back and it should be facing up or at a funny angle like that, it should be fine, and it was fine on all my trips. So everything's all hooked up. The sat nav is in there, ready to go, destination locked in, and then you got this cable just popped in the back there, giving it a charge. I'm just going to pop this in my pocket and probably run it just under handlebars like that, just under there into my pocket, just so it's not getting caught on anything, and that should be good to go. Welcome back to Two Wheel Talk. Just come down here to Halfords to get some heat paint for my engine, because I had a couple of little scrapes, I don't know if you can see it there, where my foot was rubbing, and another little bit where I had to take the paint off to do something, just to refine something. So I just want to get some more heat paint for the engine, just to finish that up. But as you can see, the queue is massive. But yeah, the sat nav done well. As you can see, I've got it running from there to my pocket, which is here, and it was perfect, no problems when I was turning the handlebars or anything like that. So yeah, I think that's pretty successful. One thing I might do though is replace the battery in this, because it seems very weak. I didn't charge it for long, maybe 20 minutes, but I don't know, it seemed to go down very quick, too quick for my liking, without the power source connected. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of DIY and try and add a new battery to it. I'll make a video of that if I do it. So when I get home, I'll give you guys another update on the sat nav, but for now, I've got to join this queue. Nice quick trip. I decided to disconnect the power bank from the Garmin on the way home, just to see if the battery would last. It's noisy out here. If the battery would last, and it did. It's got some battery life left in it. Where is it? There, can you see it? Just about, or not, a quarter of the battery left, which is not bad, but I still think I might upgrade the battery to a new one if I can find one on eBay, say. But all in all, very good. I did have an idea about where I could relocate the battery to though. Show you 1 second. Let's get that out of the way. Is this. There's literally nothing inside that. So what I was thinking that is where I might mount my USB port in there and have it sticking out of here. But what I might do is just unscrew this. It's only 2 screws, and then pop the power bank inside there and just have a hole for the cable to come through, and that will make my battery pack removable, and I won't have to add any more cables for 12 volts or anything. I mean, it's 12 volts already, but I won't have to add any cables to the bike or the battery or anything, and it'll just be a little bit more independent of the bike's electronics, which I would prefer. I am back home. Cup of tea. So today we looked at this battery pack, this external battery pack, 10,000 milliamps, made by a company called Jonkw, Jonkw, like 2 U's, not a W, but double U. We looked at the Garmin Nuvi 2595LM, and we looked at this pouch don't know what you really call it, a GPS case. Not really sure what to call that. It's made by a company called Chi Royal. I will put links in the description to everything so you can find it easily. But once again, thank you for joining me on this little journey today. Excuse me. I'll give you an update on the Garmin maybe in a month or two or something to let you know how it's getting on, to make sure that it's all okay still. In the meantime, comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.